Haunted house workers of Reddit, what's the worst thing you've witnessed? A few years ago I ran a haunted house at our local rec center. Gym was sort of the grand finale and it was set up like a giant indoor cemetery. A lot of families went through the haunt and the kids were horrified by the zombies. A lot of kids would just be losing their minds when they got to the exit. Because I'm a jerk. The exit was fake. It was one of those heavy metal doors with the push bar on it. It led to another part of the building but it looked like an exit. So I put a sign on it that said thanks for coming. Please exit quietly. So the kids would be freaking out and the same thing would happen over and over. The parents would say it's okay. It's over. See. It's the end and the kids would be relieved and they would run for the door. They'd push it open and Leatherface would blast his chainsaw right in their face. I worked on a haunted train. The train would ride from one station to the other and back, while workers in scary costumes walked into each car. I was wearing a gimp mask, looked just like this, while waiting on the train platform for the next round of customers to board. The platform is directly across from a restaurant with outdoor seating and there were two women having dinner and facing the train station. I stood directly across from them and just stared with the mask on. They were talking so they didn't notice me for a couple of minutes. Waiting paid off. Because one of them finally saw me and screamed at the top of her lungs. Everyone else at the restaurant looked to see what was happening. The other girl was laughing her off. I waved and boarded the train. Edit. The mask was the same one the drummer from Slipknot wears. The train company had a big bin full of costumes that I pulled it out of and had no idea. We had a haunted trail and hurried through a haunted forest at the place I worked when I was a teen. One part of the forest was really dense and had trees packed in close. And at that part of the ride the park owners decked the trees out in all shades of neon glow and the dark streamers and placed black lights to make it really trippy. Usually, as the hayride started into that section, clowns would start flitting between the trees, inching closer and closer to the ride until the kids, and plenty of the adults, lost it. One day, the clowns decided to bring along coolers with beer and have a little party. They ended up getting so drunk that about half of them laid down in the trail to stop the hay truck. And the other half tried to hijack the thing, hollering about raising their pay. Another time, we trail tour guides deviated from the script a bit with a gag about an escaped convict. And a couple people called 911. When I was a little kid I was walking through a haunted house that was set up in a couple rooms in a school or something. And I turned a corner and saw some middle-aged woman screaming and violently stomping out some guy who was dressed up as a scarecrow. I think his job was to lay on the ground and just kind of lurch forward at people as they walked by. And he scared the lady so badly that she just started curb stomping the out of him. He eventually stopped after he started screaming. And he just kind of got up and limped out of the room. My mom worked at a haunted house when I was younger. Somewhere between 6 and 10. She was a skeleton and jumped out and hugged me as we were going through and I punched her in the face. My dad laughed for days.